Hi, everyone. Well, you you may or may not know that I have this kind of interesting connection to the number 7. So today we are we're in a 7th month, and we're in a 7 universal day when you add up the day plus the month plus the year. But I was going to do a whole lot of writing today about Merlin and the mermaids and the magic of all of that. But what happened this morning? Well, and I've been on that podcast as well today. But this morning, when I went onto my phone, there was this image there, and I'm like, oh my goodness! So there was this photograph of me and my friend Polly, and this time 7 years ago, we were in France. So we had travelled to France. We'd gone on this goddesses trip actually to Glastonbury, and both her and I connected to one another, and we both were in this conversation of, I feel that I want to go earlier and go somewhere else, and we both had the same thoughts, and then we both had the same place as well. So before we went to Glastonbury, we spent, I don't know whether it was 7 or 10 days in France. So we went to Toulouse and hired a car and went to some places, but in the south of France. And today, this time, 7 years ago, I was at Montsegur. So I'll speak about that in a little bit, but that is what prompted me to be here. So it's been quite a busy day in terms of my time, but I wanted to share that. So this was the what has come through today, which is quite interesting. So Gaia today said, yes, more are feeling the energy of, so listen to this, the energy of magic, but it's true magic. It's that of the seemingly miraculous, she said, as the old magicked, the spell binding and casting has lost its grip and is powering down. So that's an interesting construct. She said, think car engine turned off and hearing the sound of the fan cooling the motor. So that's how I was showing that it looked and sounded today. And the power hold by this component of our world has substantially diminished, like a power shutdown situation. And the other imagery that came up was the movie projector being turned off and the fan running in that. And I thought, well, that is pretty apt, isn't it? I mean, that's an incredible visual, really, of what we're experiencing. And I wrote in here, truth is stronger than fiction. So we're really in the big reveal of all of this on so many levels and in so many ways. And if you are like me, and you don't have to be, I don't feel I need to know it all. I don't need to dive into all of the ins and outs of what is and what isn't. I am just in the acceptance that we are moving through, that each of us can be shown what we need to be shown in terms of our beliefs, and that might just be enough for each of us to be shifted to a new paradigm, a new way of being, operating, and thinking. And that for each of us, it may be different. That's certainly how it's been shown to me, that we will or may all awaken in different ways from different situations and different angles in different times. But we are in it. We are on it. We are amongst it. And I'm sure that many of you are feeling that. Yeah, so I wanted to just invite you to do this while I'm here in this order of things. So I just invite you to close your eyes a moment and to just come into a space of being with the breath. And I want you to visualize that as you are breathing, you are meandering off somewhere in the dream space, in your mind space, in your etheric space, somewhere beautiful, ethereal, magical. And you're in your bare feet. I want you to see yourself as the powerful God, goddess that you are. And notice your bare feet. And notice that you are in the motion of dancing on the ground in your bare feet. So notice what the surface is under your feet. You are wearing flowing, loose clothing. And you're feeling very free. Notice the colours that you are wearing and the surroundings around you. Notice that you can smell flowers. You can smell the nectar of flowers. You can hear bird song. And you notice you have a crystal in your hand. Maybe have a look at that. See what crystal you have. You notice it feels different. And you hear a message. You don't know where it's come from. It come from the heavens, saying you're leaving the old. You're leaving the old grid and stepping into the new grid, the crystalline grid. The grid that is now very close to the surface of our planet, that can be felt. You can feel the vibration of it under your feet. So feel yourself stepping into this new crystalline. Feel the electromagnetic energy under your feet. Notice what it does, the tingling in the soles of your feet. And I invite you to repeat after me. I release all the tethers to all of the people, the family, the friends, the lovers, the community, to everyone in this moment as I rise up. And just observe all of the tethers and the cords that are released from you, from around you. Think the maypole, you are the maypole, and all of those strings and ribbons around you. You're being released from all points of the body, from the head, from the heart, from the face, from the belly, from the root, from all of your chakras, from your fingertips and your feet. And you are not concerned, because you know you haven't lost these connections, these people, that you're just rearranging the tethering. And you rise up with this new intent, this intent of the new, to begin again with conscious and deliberate choice of the connections, of the tethers, of the people, of the love, of the journey, of the system. All the connections, all the conscious choices and intent. So just give you a moment to sit with that, to dwell in the notion of what that might look like and who that may include. And there is no reason why you can't include others later. But I want you to be using intent to call in all of the connections that hold truth, that hold purity, that hold authenticity, that hold love and compassion. And just notice who sits on the end of those ribbons now in the new, in the higher dimensional space. And you can stay there if you like while we continue. You can feel the energy and magic of that. So a little message about the divine counterpart connection that I want to read, and then this really lovely post that came across my thread, which I've got here on my other screen that I want to read to you. But I wanted to speak to you about this divine feminine, divine masculine, and what I had written in here, which is a very good summary review. And then I saw something else, which is even better. So I wrote in here, remember that each of those, the divine feminine and the divine masculine in their form, needs to come into the higher. We've spoken of that. I just want to remind you, because we're in this time now, this higher alignment to soul purpose and mission, that's what each of us are coming into, that this connection has integrity and is in divine timing, that each needs to come into internal balance and higher alignment to soul purpose and mission in a love-filled and compassionate way, in a heart-centered life, really being in a heart-centered life, in right relation with self and with nature and with all of Gaia. So that's our individual alignment and journey. And then as we are in that space, each of us, then we will be drawn together. Excuse me. And then, I opened up my Facebook and this was on it. So this is from Paro Speaks, Wandered, Not Lost. And I won't read all of it. Oh, no, I might read all of it, actually. I will. What the best sign that really confirms that they are your twin flame is you ascend and they respond. They will be in the same energy as you when you have ascended into soul. Sorry, a message just came up over the top of that. This is the level where you are at one with your twin flame. Before ascension, there is obsessive thinking, endless ups and downs, and feeling like you are losing your mind. And then there is the weird energy stuff that happens. And then there are triggers and more triggers until you start ascending. The D knots that they trigger, I'm not actually sure what that means, but maybe somebody knows. I didn't look that up. I'm sure that it's clear, but it's not clear to me. The DNOTS that they trigger is something beyond imagination. And if you get stuck in there, then it feels like endless hell. And then this paragraph, as you transmute your duality energy into soul energy, your twin flame will suddenly act differently. So this is what drew me to this, because this is the phase that we are in my view. Somehow it seems like the circumstances change and they appear in your reality. It is because of the energy, and this, of course, you all know, but it's just this lovely summary. It is because of the energy, your outside world will start reflecting your inside world. So when you are in your soul energy, then the universe is trying to match this by bringing in the one person who has the same soul, your twin flame. It doesn't get any more real than that. So thank you to Paro Speaks, Wandered, Not Lost, because I think that that is a very exquisite summary. All right. Oh, interesting. Major global IT network outage affecting banking services has just come across my screen from two people, actually. So we can have a look at that later. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Yeah, so this releasing all the tethers to all of the people rising up to the new to begin again with conscious choice, intent, and calling in all the connections that hold truth and purity, love and compassion. And this, I feel, is the place that we are in on our journey. And even though that might feel a little bit individual, it actually is like the drop in the bucket, you know, it's everybody's the little drop. Yeah, so back to yesterday's discussion about this new way of being, and in connection to what enters the field and what we spoke about with, you know, following this stream of consciousness and learning to be with it and to connect to it and be following the guidance of it from a new way. And I want to call that, and I think I did call that, this divine sensory consciousness, that's what we are moving to. We are moving out of the mind, but it's, I know that we've spoken about moving into the heart, but this feels to me like another expansion on that. So we've moved from the mind into the heart. It's not that we've um, abandoned the mind. We'll just be using it differently. We'll be using it more as a tool than as the driver of decisions. And then we come into this connection in the heart, this beautiful, open, loving, compassionate heart. And then into the sensory body, exploring what comes into the field, into the stream of consciousness. And so I'm calling that, I called it something like, I called it that today, but I might have called it something similar to that last week when I was speaking about this. But anyway, today I've called it that divine sensory consciousness. So I feel that that's what we're moving into, this sort of slipstream of consciousness, this reading our own field, this getting information in a new way. So this idea about being in connection with what enters the field and following the stream of consciousness, which may come as a thought, but that won't be the primary function. It may come as an idea, it may come as a message from within or without, but follow the ones that are uplifting, that are inspiring. Use that as your guide to go there, to feel there, to go deeper, to be more expanded, because we really are in this new way of being with the information and with the stream of consciousness, and to follow the inspiration, I want to say. So follow those that bring some substance of an aha or an epiphany or a light or a spark, and something that moves you out of the mind and also is held maybe more in the energy, like front and center. Like you can't ignore it, because I wrote in here, because each of us is coming into the nuance and the subtleties of our own preciseness, our own precision. And that to me feels as though it's very much tied up with soul purpose and mission. Yeah, so today in 2017, let's get rid of that. I was in Montsegur, and Montsegur is this old fortress where the Cathars, where it's said to have been the Cathars' last stand. So I found it really interesting that on this day, that's when I was there. And so this series of photographs came up on my phone about being there. So these are the ruins. They're on a big hill. We walked up the hill. There's a path and some steps. It was a centre and a fort. That's the bottom of the Pyrenees in the south of France. The Cathars, they were pacifists, but they ended up fighting for their right to be in that level of freedom, and they ultimately got burned there. It was this huge massacre. So there was a lot of they refused to renounce their faith. That's the thing. And I know that it was like a pilgrimage walking up to the top of that hill, and there were definitely times where we stopped, Polly and I, and and had this inner contemplation of the feeling of it, the energy of it, the memories of it. We both had flashes of visions when we were there. We spent time sort of sitting inside and sitting in another place, and I remember bursting forth with this light language from Mary Magdalene, and it was powerful. It was like the equivalent of a female haka. If you come from New Zealand, it was the call. It was the call for peace and freedom and liberty, and also for fairness. So I remember that it burst forth from me. I did not I didn't think that through. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to do some light language. It burst out of me, and we were both sitting there, and we had this panoramic view from where we were, and we knew that we were sitting, probably it felt like we were sitting in what was part of the old kitchen or pantry, and so a lot of lives were lost there. And I wrote in here, so how many of you here have been to Montségur in the south of France? So hello BU, good morning to you, good evening to you, Nicole. Kia ora, Fiona, lovely to have you here. And hello to you, Charlotte. Welcome. Hello and good morning, Angie. And hello, Debbie. Hi, Dawn. Windows update issues crashing. Fiona, they were part of the lineage of the Essenes. Thank you, Fiona. Yeah, that was about to come out of my lips. And then I thought, I'm not sure about that, actually. But yes, it was a powerful internal journey, that pilgrimage up that mountain. Good very early morning to you, Dawn. And this is what came afterwards. And I just saw that we had just hit 22 minutes 11 seconds. So perhaps this is of significance today. Perhaps we hold a first of a different nature, because they were the first. The ruins where the Cathars held a centre and a fort in the south of France at the bottom of the Pyrenees, and they were pacifists. And I know I read this, but I'm reading it again. And ultimately, they burned en masse there when they refused to renounce their faith. And in some ways, I feel that's what humanity is doing. It's not the faith of the church. It's not the faith of religion. It's the faith of self, of sovereignty, of our rights to claim our internal being, our connection to soul, our connection to heart and to one another and to the earth. So I thought that was a perfect statement, and I want to end with it. Perhaps this is of significance today as we hold a fort of a different nature, our own sovereignty, and a life of living from the heart. So that's what I have for you today. And I feel there's so much sort of feeling in the air at the moment about where we are coming to, and this sense of not necessarily knowing what exactly or how exactly or even where and when exactly, but this total knowing that we are on the edge of something magnificent, monumental, and that is going to bring about great change for us. And so I invite you to sit in your hearts in the beauty that is you, in this love and compassion, holding space for those around us as we each rise up as divine feminine and divine masculine to come back into those connections, but also the interconnections of all things, of the enlivenment of all of the layers of nature and of the planet. And this is where we are returning to incrementally, but very, very quickly. So Fiona is saying that the Montsegur is also on the major ley lines that Hamish Miller and friends doused through the Apollo and Athena ley lines. Thank you. Angie's saying, feeling like she's clearing deep-seated grief at the moment, not sure if it's mine or the collective. Well, I want to say it's both. That when we clear, we are often clearing something of our own and clearing on behalf. And I feel that if you ask, is there anything here for me to know, you'll be given that. And I know we are doing a lot of clearing. The first waves are doing a lot of clearing on behalf of the collective, but it's this real sense that the evil, the satanic, the dark end of the spectrum, not the shadow, we're dealing with the shadow. So that has gone, we're dealing with the shadow. But there's also this notion that I want to offer to you, and you certainly don't have to receive it, that we are coming into our power in such an extent that there's just this, what would you call it? Like bowing to, paying tribute to what comes up to be released, and that in that it's like this energy, this frequency. This frequency is so quick and fast that things can be transmuted very, very quickly and easily. So it's not this dive into the deep, dark bucket of all that has wounded you and traumatized you. Some stuff is coming up that's very ancient and very old, but I feel that what is happening is we're in this extreme acceleration and that we can move things through very, very quickly. So just acknowledge what comes up. And yeah, I've had some tears today as well, and I just feel that it's the old and the ancient and the deep. And it didn't, to me, the tears came, but really without any emotion that accompanied it. So yeah, we are in the fun part, as Debbie says. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I wish you a beautiful evening. And yeah, just be with what comes and acknowledge yourself, because you are magnificent and we have all done incredibly. And remember that we're learning to do this differently now, that we are coming into this higher dimensional space and way of being, and it's a learning situation. So we have to have compassion and know that we're all doing different things in different times and different orders, and that none is better than the other, that we each chose to do what we're doing in the way that we are doing it for particular reasons related to soul experiences, related to why perhaps you were drawn to be here at this time. Hello, Chrissy. Yeah, so much love, so much love. Just be with that, be in the light and the love that you are. And I wish you we're on Friday. As you know, not very connected to the days, but today has felt very long and expanded, and not much sleep for me. Slept at the wrong time, missed something I was supposed to be at early this morning. But yet we're traversing the new and we're learning how to do it. And I think, there's always merit, I believe, in thinking of ourselves as the young child in this. It's not just this like being childlike in our view. It's also when we're parenting ourselves, think of that. So I always come back to that. We don't ever rebuke the child who's learning how to ride the two-wheeler bike and falls off. We encourage them. Get back on. I'll help you. I'll run beside you. I'll hold the back so you've got better balance. That's what I want to encourage you all to do with yourself. Have compassion for yourself as we navigate this new terrain with skills that we've not had here before, in a way that we've not done before. And we're doing it together and we're learning together. And so, yeah, much, much love to all of you. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Oh, Before I go, I want to remind you about the God Goddess course, and please send me a message. Thank you to those who have. Send me a message if you are feeling drawn to do it and the time in the day works for you and the money's an issue. Send me a message, okay? And remember that the timing of this, the very first one starts at the end of this month. So if you can be in the process of, like, don't think about it, feel it. Feel, is this something that you want to come because and do, either for yourself or for anchoring in for our new way of being. All right. Bye.